By Fox News Radio's John Decker. John, thank you very much for giving us some time. What are we going to expect to see tonight?
Well, I think what we're going to see from the president is a little bit of a different type of tone, Annie, than we saw at the inauguration that the president delivered on January the 20th. I think it's aimed to being more unifying than we saw just a few weeks ago. The president's going to tick off some of the things that he believes he's accomplished in the first 40 days or so of his presidency, and also list sort of what his agenda is going to be over the course of this next year or so with the Republican-led Congress. I think the two things that leap out at me certainly are repealing and replacing the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, and also some sort of comprehensive tax reform, not only for individuals but also for businesses.
So it sounds like rather than the very populist-centric message that we heard in the inauguration, which a lot of people deemed to be not unifying, to be divisive, we're going to actually maybe hear some ideas for substance, which has kind of been lacking up until this point in time. We're not 100% sure where he want to go. It's like he's circling over it, but he hasn't landed anywhere. Do you think that we're going to get some definitive key focuses then from the president this evening?
Yeah, I think so. I think there are two areas in which there can be some room for some bipartisanship between Republicans and Democrats, one being this infrastructure spending plan that the president had spoken about out on the campaign trail and continues to speak about now that he's president. That has a lot of Democratic support for sure. It's one of those areas, interestingly enough, where I think more Democrats support the idea than Republicans. And the other idea, which is new, the president just spoke about it today in a lunch that he had with some network correspondents, and that's the idea of comprehensive immigration reform. So besides, pursuing that second executive order on immigration, he wants to do something a lot bigger that would involve Congress, legislation, comprehensive immigration reform, and that's something that George W. Bush tried and failed. Barack Obama tried and failed on that as well, but I think the president believes that with Republicans in control of the White House, the House, and the Senate, now is the time to get something like that done.
So the speech will be tonight at 8 p.m. Central for us here, and you can hear that speech on 97.1. So tune in here if you're looking for a way to consume that. From the technical standpoint, it's not technically a State of the Union. Is it essentially a State of the Union without the label? Do we expect to see the Republicans standing and clapping and the Democrats grimacing and a Democratic counter speech afterwards? How does the evening go?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. I think that if you're watching at home or if you're listening, but more importantly, if you get to see what's happening in terms of the images, it will look no different. It will look no different than a State of the Union address. Why do I say that? Well, the diplomatic corps will be there. The Joint Chiefs of Staff will be there. The Supreme Court, at least those that wish to show up, will be there. And, of course, every member of the House and Senate, Democrat and Republican, will be there, as will the president's cabinet and a lot of staffers for the White House on the floor of the House of Representatives. So it will look like a State of the Union address. It just won't be one. It's called an address to a joint session of Congress, and the reason why it's called that is because a president, upon taking office, does not do a State of the Union address. That's something that he does in the second year, and then following that, the third and fourth year, et cetera, of his presidency.
So do we expect Donald Trump to get some jabs in? He's kind of famous for making sure that his opinion is known. It's not like he's very clandestine on those types of things. Or do we expect him to really kind of stick towards policy? Do you think it'll be way less of a campaign speech like we're used to hearing from the president?
Well, look, I think he likes the idea of these rallies. That's the reason why he had one, a campaign-style rally, just about a week or so ago in Florida. So will he have some jabs? I have no doubt. That's Donald Trump's style. That's President Trump's style. Mm-hmm. So I think that we're going to see that from the president, but also some policy ideas that he'd like to put forward for his agenda in this first year. And, I think that what the president will do is to talk about some ideas that Republicans will like, and you'll get a lot of Republican applause and, standing ovations, and some ideas that Democrats will not like, and they'll be sitting on their hands, essentially.
Well, John Decker, Fox News Radio, we appreciate the insight, and we will definitely be paying attention this evening.